Hi and welcome to Naresh IT. Today we are going to have a session on email writing, in a way effective email writing. Now we all write emails, we receive loads of emails and send very few emails. Now what concerns us when we are writing emails? I think everybody will agree with me. Probably you send emails but they are not professional. Now what do we understand by professional? That is, do we follow all the rules that are required or all the etiquettes that are required to send emails? Sometimes yes and sometimes definitely not. So what happens is our emails are not creating an impact on the recipient, so the person whom we want to send it to. So today what we are going to do is we are going to talk about the simple rules, and believe me, if you follow these, it becomes very easy for you to send good emails and effective emails, and definitely creates an impact on the receiver. Okay. Now the first rule that we follow here is, now if you all have written emails earlier, you will definitely know what 2CC and BCC means. So let me clear it to you. 2. Now 2 means it's the recipient whom we are sending our email to. Whom should we include in the 2 address? So, or what are the email IDs that we can add? For example, you are writing an email to 10 people. So, should all the 10 names be included in the 2 address? What do you think? Yes or no? Well, it's no, because here it depends on whether you require a response or a reply from that receiver. For example, you have 2 here, and then you are sending this email to 10 people. Now, when we see 10 people, all those 10 people need to know what you are sending. For example, let's say you are working in a team and you have to send it to your team lead, your team manager and all your team members, including you. So, should you include all the team members' names, like email IDs in the 2 address? No, because here it only depends on whom you expect a reply from. So, keep that in mind, whom you expect a reply from or a response from. So, those people's email ID would be included in the 2 address. So, here it can be your team manager or your team lead. So, now what do you include in the CC list? Now, if you know, CC list means carbon copy. That means there are other recipients to this email and you also want them to know what you are sending. But you don't expect a reply from them, they don't have to respond to your email. So, all your other team members, for example, say 17 members, they can be included in the CC list, or if you want, you can send a copy to yourself too. So, you can include your email ID also in the CC list. Now, next is the BCC list. Now, we all know BCC means blind carbon copy. Should we really use this? That depends. Now, here, if for example, if a HR of the company wants to send an email to all the employees saying Saturday is not working or Monday is a working day, or vice versa, you can say it's a holiday. Alright. So, what happens here is, for example, there are 100 employees in that company. Now, can the HR write all the email IDs in the 2 and the CC address? No, that becomes very lengthy, and definitely some people do not want their email addresses to be known. So, what we usually do is, when we are sending bulk mails, and which is just general information, it's not anything got to do with the secrecy or their important issues in the email, content in the email which should be hidden. So, if it's just general information you're talking about, so all those 100 employee email IDs can be used in the BCC list. So, if you have an example, for example, if you subscribe to Flipkart or Snapdeal or any of these e-commerce sites, you keep getting random messages from them. So, do you think you are the only one who's receiving that? No. All those people who have subscribed to that mail receives it. So, what happens? All those email IDs are included in the BCC list. So, when it's official mail, see to it that you do not use the BCC list, and that's very important. Then the next one is when you're talking about the subject line. Now, this is a very important aspect of an email, because what happens is we are used to writing informal letters or informal emails. So, we don't really give importance to all these things in an email, is the subject line important or not? Yes, it's definitely important, because subject line, it tells you about your email. What is the purpose of your writing an email? For example, if I have this as my subject, so here when I say meeting, then it's not clear like what meeting am I talking about, because there may be n number of meetings. So am I being very specific? Am I being really clear about the meeting? No, because you cannot understand. So sometimes what happens is, when people look at your subject line, they anticipate that okay, this is going to be the content of the email. So here try to be very specific and precise with your subject line. So here when I write it, I am very specific. I am saying like there is a team meeting on 3rd October at 2 p.m. So everybody knows the date and the timing. So here there is a difference between the first one and the second one. And remember one thing, never leave your subject line blank, because here many people do not take you seriously if you do not have anything in the subject line. And one more thing is, your mail may be it may go into spam. So to avoid that, always use an effective subject line. Okay. The next one is opening and closing salutation. Okay, you're two with your to, CC, BCC and the subject line. Now you actually want to address the person. Now there are a few things that you need to keep in mind here. When you actually opening salutation is how you wish or greet the other person. Now here there are different ways of greeting somebody. We all know we say dear, hi, hello, and there was one more which we used to, but we don't do it anymore. Respected. So here if you remember, you wrote letters when you were at school or college, when you had to write to your principal or your teacher, then you wrote respected principal ma'am and all that. But here nowadays, like in business communication, we do not write respected. It's only left for like if higher authorities or when you're writing to government officials. So let's avoid this for the time being. Now look at dear, hi and hello. When you're saying dear, so whom do we use dear for? Hi and hello. Let's go on to the first one. Now dear is, do you know the person or not? Like again, it's about being formal or informal. Now if you do not know the person, or it's a formal email that you're writing, then always stick to dear. Now if you know the person, then it can be, or it's very informal, it can be your friends, your family or colleagues of yours whom you have worked for a long time and they're quite close, then you can use hi. Hello is usually informal, like you know the person but you do not know the person too well. At that time you can use hello. Now what's salutation, like how do you address them? Like hello, dear. Now if this is an formal one, you do not know the person, so you say, so we say dear Mr. Gupta. Now here can I say hi Mr. Gupta? No, because here hi is used for informal, so you can say hi, assuming the person's first name is Anil. Okay, so here you can say hello Anil or hello Mr. Anil. You can even use that. Now the same goes for Miss or any other name. But here keep this in mind, if you do not know the name of the person or you do not know the gender of the person, then you can write sir or madam. Okay. Now sometimes you don't know the name of the person but you know the designation of the person, so you can say dear HR manager, okay, dear finance manager. Then here if you know the person, definitely when you're using hi or hello, you know the person, you know the name of the person, then this issue doesn't arise. Alright, so this is with the salutation. How do you close? Like usually we write best regards and thanks, thanking you and sincerely. All these are the ways of closing your salutation. So here see to it that it's not too informal, like cheers, catch you later. These kind of terms should not be used for formal emails. Okay. Then the next one is simplified sentences. Now what people usually think is, for example, they just need to apply for a leave and they say I need 2 days leave as I am not feeling well or I am suffering from fever. So what they think, your message is just coming up to one line, and how can it be just one line? Probably my HR may not take me seriously or my team lead may think I'm lying. So what you have to do here is keep it simple and short. As long as you convey your message and you feel it's quite legible and understood, then you don't have to elaborate the information in your email. So here that is what means by simplified sentences. And one more thing, like people think they use a lot of paragraphs and provide a lot of information which is unnecessary. That should be completely avoided, because here your emails have to be crisp and clear. So everybody whom you are mailing to should understand what's the content of your email, and it's easily accessible and easily understood. That's the most important thing you have to keep in mind when sending an email. Next one is all caps or lowercase. So what do you mean by all caps? So many people I have seen, to emphasize a thing, they write something in caps. For example, you can take the subject line. Now what does this indicate? If you have any idea, people think, it's bold, it's big, and then it's in caps, so it can be easily read and understood. But that's again a misconception here. Writing something in caps indicates that you're actually shouting or you are screaming. So to avoid that, try to use sentence case, and please do not use the entirely in cap. That is a complete no for any business communication. And again, writing everything in lowercase. We usually know when we start a sentence, we start with a capital letter. So that has to be followed even in your emails. Do not write entirely in lowercase. Like for example, this would again be a wrong way to write. You can write MS capital. You can start with a capital letter. So these are a few rules that you need to follow. We'll continue with the next set of rules in the coming slide. The next set of rules is, think of who your reader is going to be. Now by this we mean whether your audience is going to be formal or informal. Is it your boss? Is it your colleague? Is it your junior? Is it your friend or family? Because if you have an idea about that, then you will definitely not mess with the language that you're using in your email. So here knowledge of your reader is very important. And punctuation, spellings and basic grammar. And this is one thing I really want to tell you because we make a lot of mistakes here. First of all, have your spell checker on, because you cannot afford to make mistakes in your business communication, because if you're doing that, people are not going to take you seriously. And then next, spellings and basic grammar. It's like again, now here what I want to tell you is, what we do is, we are into the habit of translating everything from our mother tongue into English, which is the biggest mistake we are doing. You have to stop that on an immediate basis, because what happens is, the formation of sentence is different in your mother tongue than in English. So when you're trying to translate, it gives a completely different meaning and approach to the sentence. So if you've been doing that, you have to stop that on an immediate basis. And here, now one more thing that I would like to tell you about is we all are into using instant messages or SMSs or using a lot of messenger services. Now if you can believe me, it's like many of us these are a few that I have written, like HRU, WRU, CYA. I think you all know this. HRU is how are you, where are you, and see you. Now can you use this language in your business emails? No, you cannot, because here you get so used to it, and what happens is, when you're actually writing emails, you forget the fact that it is a formal email and you should not be using that kind of a language. So please keep in mind that this has to be avoided from the beginning. Now what happens, I usually say is, okay, even if you keep a look at this, I have noticed a lot of people writing. So even if they don't want to use the UI and all these short forms, they would usually write, I would like to tell you. So what happens is, instead of YOU, you're again writing you there. So please be careful when you're using this, or when you're using formal mails. You have to avoid these kind of errors. Next is font size, type and color. Sometimes what happens is, you receive emails which are very big in font size, and probably you think my receiver may want to look at it in a bigger way and want it more colorful. Please no. Here we are talking about formal emails and not informal. So the font size is usually, stick to the default font that you have, that's usually 10, and 8 would be too small, 12 would be too big. So 10 is the default font size that we look at. Now what is the type? Here keep in mind, you don't have to make your email look creative or artistic. Here stick to the normal one, usually the Arial or Vedanta. That is what you can do. And please do not use italics, and this is a big no. People tend to use italics, which is not the right thing to do. And color, people think like, okay, this is very important information, I change the color for this, I keep this in bold. That should also be avoided, because here it has to be as simple as possible, whereas the only thing that you want to do in an email is send it to the person, and the matter is more important than making it more creative. Next is use of emoticons. Now we all like to say, I'm very happy for the appraisal that I got last week. So here you are having a big smile, and it's like, I don't know, all these celebration things and all that. So please avoid that. That is completely restricted to your personal emails or your informal emails. So even if you're very happy at something or sad about something, you don't have to express your feelings through emoticons. That is simply not allowed in professional emails. Now use a bullet or numbered list. When do we use these? It's if you have a lot of information to provide. Now rather than writing all your entire email in paragraph form, it's always better to use bullet list. Now here go by the simple bullet list, or if you want to use the numbered list, go by 1, 2, 3, 4, but see to it that you maintain that uniformity throughout. So if it's the bullet list that you're using, it has to be bullet everywhere, and if it's a numbered list, it has to be the numbered list. Now why we use this is because the information is more clearer and the person is able to understand or intercept whatever you're trying to say. And because there are no paragraphs, the information doesn't seem complicated. It becomes very simple and clear. So whenever you have to provide more information, it's always better to use bullet or numbered list. A few more rules to remember is when writing an email is, what's the appropriate time to reply? Now you receive an email. So when should you reply? Is it immediately, or should you take 1 or 2 days to reply? Well, the effective time is from immediate to 48 hours, usually 24 to 48 hours. So it shouldn't go beyond 48 hours. So that shows like, your promptness and your eagerness to actually send a reply or respond to an email. Now for example, I'll give you like you wanted to apply for a job and you received an email from them and saying like, reply within 2 days. But you are not in the habit of checking your email. So what you do here is like, you open your email after 2 days. So here the time is already gone. So you cannot say, okay, no, I received it, or I actually opened my email 2 days later, so can I send it now, or with apologies you're sending an email. But your chance is already lost. So don't expect like, if you don't reply within the time frame, so a lot of things would be at a loss. Reply and reply all. What do we mean by this? So it's usually what happens is, as I said, like, when we are sending an email to 10 people, so should we reply it to all? Now see to it that it should be to the rest, actually the sender who sent it to you. You should actually reply it to that person. So what happens is, because we know whom we write in the to address, that person has to respond. Everybody doesn't have to respond. So reply all means it can be unnecessarily mails sent to other people where they don't want to be there or they don't want to receive that email. So it's highly necessary or completely necessary, then you can reply all, but otherwise stick to the reply option. Now attachment. Usually what happens is we always have a sign where we have a clip of an attachment. We know that this email has come with an attachment. But here it's your responsibility. When you're writing to somebody, let them know that you have attached something with the email. So that, because usually the attachment is at the end of the email and sometimes they overlook that attachment. So it's always better to inform your receiver that please find attached, or like please find my resume attached, or please find the document attached. And when you're doing those attachments, see to it that the files are not larger in size, or if that's the case, then you have to zip the file so that they can open it conveniently. Next is forward. Now this is a very good habit that we have actually. What we do, we subscribe to a lot of sites and we receive we keep receiving n number of emails on a daily basis. So for example, you subscribe to a health site or somewhere where you get good offers and all that. What we usually do here is, when we get something like this, we always want to share it with others. So we send it to our friends, we send it to our colleagues. Never do that, please. That's a big mistake, because what happens is you have to act professional here. You cannot say, okay, fine, I received I'm benefiting others by it. No, they don't want your benefits. But here it's always better to ask permission from the other person that I receive these kind of emails. Can I forward it to you. So that would be a right thing to do, because if you have their approval, then take the liberty of forwarding the emails. Otherwise, keep your charity to yourself. You don't have to do it for anybody. Okay. Now, proofread. What is proofread? It's like you've written an email, you've taken pains to write an email. Now you are in a hurry to send the email. And exactly this is what happens. The moment we finish writing an email, we just want to click on the send button and our job is done. Now that's a big mistake we are making, because what happens is, when we are writing an email, proofreading is very important. We need to first ask, is the purpose met? Why have we written an email? Now, are we sending it to the right person? All these things. And read your email again, because here that's how you're going to locate the mistakes that you have made. So if you read that, then okay, so there is something wrong with the sentence here, or the tone is not correct, it looks more formal or it looks more informal. So that is what makes you understand whether your email content is up to the mark or not. So once you have decided, or once you've proofread it, the final thing that you have to do is just click on the send button, and then your email is sent, and that's your job done. Now here, after sending, please don't be in a hurry, it's like, because you may be prompt in your replies, but don't expect because you're doing that, you expect the other thing, the same thing from the other person. So what you usually is, you call the person and you say, did you receive my email? And why aren't you replying? No, please give them some time, because we know what the time frame is to actually send an email. But one more thing you have to keep in mind, if the information is very important, or there is a lot of information which cannot be conveyed through an email, it's always better to use instant messages or directly call the person. That's the best option, because again, through email we may not be clear in our content, then that creates some more confusion. So now what we are going to talk about is a few general tips which you have to keep in mind to send or to write effective emails. Now let's look at a few general tips, which you should keep in mind, once you've written your email, or what should be always there on your priority list. Be prompt in your reply. Please never delay writing emails, or postponing it, saying I'll do it tomorrow, day after. But when you have the time, so see to it, keep checking your emails at least twice a day. That should happen. Maximum, no limit. But that way you get informed, or you are informed that certain messages are important and which require a prompt reply from you. Next is, never write or respond when angry. This is one mistake we always do. It's for example, your boss scolded you, and you can't go and talk directly to your boss and you say you write a big email saying I won't leave you, I'll do this and blah 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 and all that. Please do not do that, because that would be valid proof against you if you ever happen to do something like that. So here, never ever respond, or it's like write an email when you're angry, because they say anger is just one letter away from danger. So you add D and it becomes danger, and that's danger signal for you. Don't write lengthy emails. People feel oh, I really want to impress the other person, I can't keep my email short, so you go on writing, and it becomes a headache for people to actually read lengthy emails. So as long as your information is to the point, and you have written whatever you want to, you don't have to make your emails elaborate. Stick to the point and finish your email. Follow all the rules, whatever we discussed so far, those are important rules. Now we aren't going into the depth, but if you happen to follow these rules, then you're definitely going to write effective emails, and definitely nobody is going to pinpoint fingers at your email saying this is wrong or that is wrong. Now click the send button only if you are sure. Please do not do it if you think you are in a hurry, you click the send button, later you realize, okay, I forgot to attach a file, I forgot to give this information, and later you're writing another email and saying, actually I forgot and that was a mistake, so I'm writing it, rewriting it or resending it. That's a big blunder. Please do not do that. So here, go through your content of the email, and only after you're sure, you think, yes, I've added everything that I want to, and I have kept everything in mind, or I have considered all the rules, then finally click the send button. So here, email writing is not rocket science. You can really do well, and just follow the guidelines, simple guidelines, and those are not really difficult rules that you cannot follow or difficult to remember. Just go by the procedure and how you should start and what all you should include, what you should exclude. If you're able to judge yourself, or if you're able to keep yourself well informed, then you're definitely writing effective emails, and your email is definitely going to create an impact on others. Thank you so much.